almost took a drink of your drink there. All right. Howdy.
Hello.
Were you the guy that was named Steve, Bob, Tom? No, that was the other guy back here, right?
Yeah.
You never told me your name, so.
My name's Corey.
Corey. All right. Hi, Corey. Glad you're here, Corey. And who's that stranger in the back there?
It's Tom.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Saturday Night Live Life Recovery. We're here to help you to deal with the messiness of life. Because life is...
Messy. Thank you.
Thank you for your help. So anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about looking in the mirror. All right, this is coming out of James 1:21 and 25 out of our Life Recovery workbook and Bible. So I wanted to ask you, what does that mean, looking in the mirror?
Same thing you really are.
See who we really are? What does that mean?
Well, who we are in this reality.
I didn't catch that.
Who we are in this reality.
In this reality.
But in the true reality, we're
Talk to somebody like me that don't know what, don't know too much.
There's two different realities. There's this reality and there's God's reality. And
God's reality.
In God's reality, He sees us as He sees us.
Okay.
In our reality, we see ourselves as we see ourselves.
Yeah.
We see ourselves as messed up, but God sees us as His.
So what's the point here, looking in the mirror?
The point is to get us as close to what God sees us as possible, so we can see us as God sees us.
Well, that could be. Took us a while to get there, but that could be.
I think that when we look in the mirror to see ourselves, our true intentions, so we can better ourselves.
Ah.
The reason and the
True intentions. What does that mean?
Well, that means if I'm not sitting out here gaslighting or manipulating somebody to get what I want.
So you're saying not gaslighting yourself.
Right.
Can you gaslight yourself?
Huh?
Can you gaslight yourself?
I'm not saying gaslight myself, gaslighting others.
Yeah, but can you gaslight yourself?
I want to see my intents.
Hey, answer my question. Can you gaslight yourself?
Yes.
I agree.
I look in the mirror, comb my
As a
hair.
matter of fact, it's hard to gaslight anyone else but yourself.
Yeah. The point here is, and everybody's kind of touching on it, and we're going to touch a whole night on it, is that a mirror is, yes, to look on the outside, but this is not really the mirror he's talking about. He's talking about the mirror of looking on the inside and figuring out what's going on in there. And looking at that, am I playing games with myself? Am I blowing smoke? Am I trying to lie to myself? One of the biggest problems is when we lie to ourselves. Anybody here ever done that before?
Yep.
How did that work out for you?
Here.
So welcome. We're going to get started with the band here, and I'm anticipating a really good night. Okay? So strap in. Let's go.
All daily reflection.
Yeah.
There's only one name
Step one, we admitted that we were powerless over our problems and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step two, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step three, we made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. Step four, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step five, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step six, we were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. Step seven, we humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. Step eight, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step nine, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. Step 12, we having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, John.
There we go. Oh, it's getting kind of cold out there. You like it? Looking in the mirror. We continued to take a personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And step 10 is, and then it's looking in the mirror is the one we're doing tonight. And it starts out with, how many times do we look in the mirror each day?
Hold on right there. Let me catch up.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
trying to wait for you. As I was like kind of pausing and stuff, you know.
Mhm. Okay, so read that first sentence again, because we got a question.
All right. How many times do we look in the mirror each day?
So, how many times do you look in the mirror each day?
I counted, and there was several.
0? You don't look in the mirror any?
You can't tell?
Anybody else? How many times you look in the mirror?
Every time I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, that's.
So, what is that, every 30 minutes?
5 times a day, roughly.
So, only 5 times a day, okay? All right. What about if you pass a mirror, in a room or in a hallway? Do you look in it then?
The only rooms that I have mirrors in the dorm are the bathrooms.
Okay. Anybody else? Everybody but Will looks in the mirror some, right? Right?
Looking in the mirror in the
You
bathroom.
what?
I don't own a mirror. so-
You don't own a
Yeah,
mirror.
that's why. It's not
Okay,
like
wait a second. Do you drive a vehicle?
Yes, but I don't have a rear view mirror, because I'm only worried about what's in front of me. Yes, I always got an answer.
And you don't look in any of those mirrors and see yourself?
I can't see myself when I look outside mirrors. I
Uh,
can only see cars behind me. Apparently not too well at that. But
okay. Boy, you got an answer for everything. You've worked on this, haven't you?
I've been studying this week.
But the point here that I was hoping to make, and thank you for your help, Will, that most of us, most real humans, how about that, actually look in the mirror. You work on a job, and I bet you they have a restroom there, right?
Yes, but no mirrors. I promise. I promise they have no mirrors.
I can't believe that.
That's true. I work in a machine shop. There is not a mirror in the place.
Oh, man. That means something, but I don't know for sure what it means.
I mean, they only hire ugly people and they don't want us to know it.
Okay, so anyway, the idea was for us to think, all of us but Will can think, you know, we look in the mirror multiple times a day. And to check, see what's going on, just we check our face, we check our clothes, we check our body, and so the idea is we do it quite a few times to check on the outside. We'll talk more about this as we go further. The mirror part is talking about the outside here. Go ahead.
Suppose we looked in the mirror and found that we had mustard smeared around our mouth. Wouldn't we immediately wash our face and clean up the problem?
Wait a second, let's ask Will that.
See, the problem is I don't really care about the way I look on the outside. It's really, really more important to me on how I respond. This 10th step is my favorite step, by the way.
Okay.
Because, when I look at what's going on in the inside, my intents toward other people, I can be a better human being. People seem to like me better.
That's such a great answer.
And that.
But,
is textbook
but
answer.
hey, remember, some of us know you.
But the truth is that we all make mistakes every day. And those who think they're perfect are calling God a liar. So I'm not far from being perfect, but I am the best version of Will today that Will can be.
All right.
And
That's awesome.
because of that.
Good. Good. So, the question is here, if you were to check your face and you saw that had mustard or whatever
Chili,
Chili, egg, maybe if you had egg this morning or whatever you ate last night, which may be chili, So, the question is, that would be a problem. You'd recognize a problem. If you recognize a problem, then what?
Probably won't be long.
You fix it.
Fix it. Okay, right. We're making headway, Tommy.
Alright. In the same way, we need to routinely look at ourselves in our spiritual mirror.
Now this is what Will was talking about. This is about the inside, right?
Yes, the Bible.
And do what?
The Bible.
Well, the Bible, the Holy Spirit, your morals, your behaviors, your intentions. He mentioned intentions. That was very good. And so that says a lot. Your intent says a lot, because where your intention is, that's where you want to go. Whether you do it or not, that's where you want to go, right? And so if you recognize I have proper intentions, you're more apt to line up with those intentions and go in a healthier way than in a less healthy way.
It says there, then if anything is wrong, we can take the proper steps to fix it.
Yes. Right.
Hopefully
Fix
we
it.
know the proper steps.
So if we're using this spiritual mirror, how do we fix it?
We gotta know the truth.
That's good. So after you know the truth, then what?
You gotta teach yourself. You teach it.
Oh, okay. What does that mean?
You gotta learn.
And what does that mean?
You gotta study.
And what does that mean?
You're gonna change. Hopefully.
Well, you're skipped a step there
No.
between study and
Apply.
yeah. There you go. Very
Apply
good.
it.
There you go. Very good. So, just because you know something, that's good, but it's not good enough,
No. You
Right.
gotta apply it.
right? So apply it, and then the next step is practice what
Practice
you've
it.
learned and that you've applied, so that you can process it into your long-term memory.
It's true.
Which we go back to the statement of my intention. That means he's practiced that thought pattern of having a goal or intention, a focus, a dream, a plan, a higher ideal of where I can go, and internalize that. So even when he finds something on his face, when he never looks at a mirror, that he would line the idea is here is to line ourselves up with the most highest good. Right?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
James uses a similar illustration to show how God's Word should be like in a spiritual mirror in our life. He said in James 1:22-25, "But don't just listen to God's Word, you must do what it says. Otherwise, you are fooling yourselves. For if you listen to the Word and don't obey, it's like glancing at your face in a mirror."
Hold on right there. I circled that word obey because we have a problem with the word obey. Most of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We obey to a certain extent.
What would you call that? I obey to a certain extent.
Till it hurts.
What?
No.
That's the. You spoke the truth, so let's change that word. Can we change that word legally?
Biden does it all the time.
Do what?
Biden does it all the time.
Okay, let's change that word. And could we, anybody want to suggest a word? I got one if you,
Go ahead.
respond, okay? So let's back up and read that sentence again and put respond, don't respond in there instead of don't obey.
For if you listen to the Word and don't respond.
How's that, is that better?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So don't respond. What,
I don't know if I like that though,
okay, tell me about it.
because you could respond negatively, and that's not necessarily doing what he asked. I mean, either way, whether we obey or don't obey, we're responding.
Oh, that's true, and that's the reason why I picked that word.
What about willingness instead of obedience?
We.
Sorry, I'm throwing.
No, that's all right. We don't. All right, let's back up. Let's back up and read the sentence again. See if this will work.
With willingness?
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise,
For if we listen,
okay, yeah, there we are.
and we're talking about listening. Okay, we hear it like we were talking about a while ago. We hear the word. We hear something. We hear instruction. We hear that there's a problem here. Okay, right? Go ahead.
For if you listen to the Word and don't willingness?
Not willing. How about
Not
that?
willing. Yeah, not willingly. Okay. For if you listen to the Word and they're not willing.
It is like.
It is like glancing at your face in a mirror. You see yourself, walk away, and forget what you look like. But if you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free.
You know what? Yeah. What are we talking about? We're talking about something to help us course correct.
Yeah, set us free from.
Course correct. Course correct. Why are you here tonight? To correct your course. Course correct. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Or maybe you're ordered by the courts, and all you're doing is you're attending unwillingly.
But that still would be the course.
It might. It don't have to.
And in attending unwillingly, you can subconsciously correct your course.
That is true. It can happen. It can happen. I've heard of it happening. But wouldn't it be nice that when we hear the truth or the perfect law of liberty,
Yeah.
that we recognize, this has helped me to keep out of the crap. No, I like to stay in the crap.
I'm used to the crap. I know the crap.
It's a comfortable place.
Yeah.
I've lived in the crap for 50 years.
Yeah, why change now, right?
Yeah, why pinned down.
Yeah. And the reason why?
So don't end up in jail again.
Amen. Okay. So, what are you thinking?
I think we get stuck in a rut, and it's more work to get out of that rut than it is to just follow that path, so it's a whole lot simpler to read and move on, and accept myself for being the sinner I am, instead of trying to correct the sin in itself, to where I have to admit that I have a problem. I think that that's generally where we're at today, this instant gratification world that we live in, that everybody gets. I mean, I don't even have to go to college nowhere to work on a car, all I gotta do is Google something, I can figure it out, so why would I take the time, the money, and the effort to go get a degree when I can just take 10 minutes and move on? It's nice to go to church and feel good about yourself, and look, I did something, but something's not what it's asking for. I think that, we live in a lazy society that's willing to accept who anyone decides to be, and I think that's the biggest issue we have today. And me, myself, I don't wanna be like everybody else. So the true rebels are the ones that can actually step up and do the work that, in which it calls for to serve God, which is not easy, but it is, it just means that I'm not, look, I'm 5 foot tall. And the last thing I'm gonna be called is a warrior in anybody's eyes but God's. If I have any chance of ever being a warrior, I think it says in James that we are all warriors, we're called to be warriors, soldiers of Christ. And to do that, we can't just sit back and go with the flow, we have to go against the
Well,
grain.
I'm going to dispute your statement there. Okay? Because there is research that most people think and line up with your statement there. I'm 5 foot tall, so I'm not going to be a warrior. But there's research through the animal kingdom that it's not the biggest and the baddest that seems to be the leaders or the alpha. It's the ones that can think and make decisions and see things that other people can't see. And and it's not force, but it's having that power that I'm talking about. And they learn how to build relationship and coalitions and work with people and help people. And because the principle of God is, if you give, you do receive. And that's what I'm talking about. And so, and you know what you're saying is something that you believe most of your life to try to make you maybe feel better. But the fact of it is, you also know the truth that that's not actually the way that it's been.
Well,
because-
I'm going with it.
That's where you were going?
Yes.
Well, excuse me.
I was gonna say, through Christ, I can be anyone I want to be.
Yes.
And I do not have to accept the worldly view of being some guy that's just gonna be cast in the shadows. I can actually stand up for something
Yes.
I believe in and do it.
Yes,
So
good.
I could be anything that my heart desires. Unfortunately, that's good or bad in my opinion.
That's absolutely the truth. That's absolutely the truth. And I've seen some of that, both sides of the wheel.
Yeah, me too. I was there.
You were there. But that's okay. You know, those were moments to learn by, right?
Can't be a warrior if you never went through a war.
That is true.
And you know another test on it, if you never go through test.
Okay, Willie. Not Willie. Tommy.
Yes.
I get you two mixed up sometimes. Let's see. Let me look at my notes here, because you were moving along there, and
We're at the last sentence of the scripture.
well, yeah.
We can go anywhere in there, actually.
Yeah. Well, you know, when we're talking about looking at this mirror and seeing a problem, and then and we see the problem, but then we forget it, or we pretend we don't see it, right?
Yeah.
That's like looking at a map. I want to go someplace, but I decide I don't like what the map says. I'm going to draw my own map. And sometimes I get confused on what's north, east, south. So how does that work out for a person like that?
Go in their own way.
They go on their own way. They see the signs and they say, all these signs must be wrong. Right?
Yep.
How many of you ever seen any signs that you said they don't apply to me?
Singing flags.
Do what?
Singing flags.
So if the GPS, now we don't use maps, but if the GPS says, what when you miss a turn, what does it say? Recalculate, take the next right or take the next left, and it tries to tell you what to do, and you say, I don't let anybody tell me what to do, including you, GPS. That sounds kind of irrational. How about that word? Familiar?
I have conversations with my GPS like that.
And that's not saying that GPS is always right, but there's a chance that it's probably closer to being right than wrong. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Mhm.
So, go ahead, Tommy.
And if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, God will bless you for it.
So, what we want to do is, just like Will was talking about a while ago, is to work on trying to look up, point forwards, point up, try to, move up instead of always shooting down.
Yeah.
And so if we can do that, if we can stop and make sure that we're going the right direction, how about that? All right. So we're talking about this inside here, and we're looking for, if we're using this internal mirror, we're looking for the potential of the highest good for our life. Isn't that what we all really want? Highest good?
Yes.
Sometimes when we get overwhelmed, then we'll take the best way out, or numb out, or lie out, and it's hard.
It
But
creates more problems.
yes, it does, and we just keep, if we keep choosing to go down. What was it you said a while ago, Will, about? I was thinking you said something about, in the ditch or in the gutter or something like that.
It's real easy to get stuck in a rut and not work your way out.
Yeah, and you pointed up when you said out.
Right.
Right.
A rut never goes up, it always goes down.
Yes, and the trouble is, we seem to go more down than up. And that's what we're talking about, is trying to do more up than down. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
I pulled you into that one, did you notice that?
Yeah.
You can say thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Willie, no, Tommy? You're not quite done yet.
The illustration supports the sensibleness. This illustration supports the sensibleness of making a routine personal inventory.
Now, what is that? Why? Let's just ask the question. Why? Why do we want to make a routine personal inventory? Why?
Keep up to date with myself.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Does anybody here ever turn your phone off and then turn it back on to let it update? To recalculate?
You're supposed to do
Oh yeah.
But we may need to do more updates than just how every time we turn our phone off, which, like Will, he never turns his phone off, so,
I just did.
okay. Go ahead.
We need to, or as we examine our life, we need to respond with immediate action if something has changed since we last looked. If
What do
we,
you think that means?
oh, because things come up in life and like something may have snuck its way in, or you may have decided to start doing something new in life without really looking at it. That's what I kind of thought about.
Expound on that thought.
Just letting things slip in my life that I didn't really think about, and they seemed fun at the time, and then all of a sudden later they just seemed like a drag maybe on my finances, or maybe this wasn't very
Can you give us a
productive.
better picture of that?
Video games.
Ah,
I'm playing video games, I get kind of lost in that sometimes, and I have to check myself and say, hey, no, you should be doing something different. Because I spend money on them, waste my time with them.
so are you saying, this is a tricky question, all right?
Yeah.
Are you saying then, video games are all bad?
No,
Okay,
just the time that I spent with them. Because I didn't take care of my normal stuff that I had to do. I was just constantly playing games.
so you let other stuff go.
Yes.
You and looking at your routine gives you an opportunity to do that inventory, to say, well, how come I didn't get this done, or why didn't I get this bill paid, or how come I don't have any money now, or,
Yep. Because I blew it all on video games. No.
okay, all right, thank you, go ahead.
If you put off taking care of a problem, it may soon slip our mind. Now that, yeah.
So what's that telling us?
It could slip my mind and become like maybe an anger issue or something later on, or some type of resentment,
At
not taking care of it. Not
yourself,
myself, personally, yeah.
but when you're angry at yourself, it usually comes out at somebody else, right?
Exactly, very true.
So then, it is telling us here that when we see that we need to take care of a problem, when we see a problem, then we need to what?
Not let it slip our mind.
And so, take action,
Take action immediately.
some kind of action,
Yes.
as
Could
best
be
action as
small,
you can, yeah.
It could, because I've noticed with working these steps, like taking action may have been just so minimal, but as time goes on and I learn more from these steps, maybe sometimes it's a bigger step in a better direction.
Good.
Just as we would think, wait, what was that? I messed up something. Just as we would think it's foolish to go all day knowing there is mustard on our face, it is not logical to notice a problem that could lead to a fall and not correct it promptly.
So it's not logical, To notice it?
Yeah.
but then not
Do anything
deal with
about
it because it could very well lead to a fall.
Lead up to slip up and using or
Mhm.
not taking care of your finances correctly and becoming homeless or whatever.
Well, what about some of those stories we've heard about people walking down the sidewalk and they saw a bag of something? And they had to make a decision.
Yeah, that's a tough one. All of a sudden being clean for years and seeing something like that. Yeah, I've had that happen.
I wonder if God was,
Testing.
no, I was just going, giving them some dope. I think God was giving them some dope.
No, not at all.
No?
Maybe old them may have thought that.
Yeah, God just does not hook you up with dope.
So then I wonder what spiritual force might have done that.
The enemy.
Do what?
The enemy.
The enemy, yeah.
Yes.
So
Trying to trip you up. and
so-
get you back.
if we see an issue, how long do we want to dance with that problem?
Well, as we grow and learn, it's less time.
Excuse me?
As we grow and learn, it's probably less time dealing with it.
The hope is to never.
Ah,
You don't expect to come upon you're a trigger or you're.
But, and that's a problem, to not expect it,
Well, yeah.
right? That's a problem, not to expect it.
I've had
Because,
that happen.
do I?
I've had that happen.
Hey, when I quit drinking, everybody wanted to buy me a drink,
Yeah.
and they never did before.
Or walking into a gas station and the bottle that you're used to drinking has broke and the whole place smells like it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, I've heard people finding dope in their front yard. You know, I've heard and in front of convenience stores. You know, how did it get there? I don't know, but
It don't matter how.
what
What are you gonna do?
are you gonna do? That's a great statement.
It's true.
And to not anticipate that it's going to show up is a possibility for relapse.
That's a good one.
I guess in my mind, the reason why I say that is like, I don't wanna think about the struggle that I had with alcohol every day. So I don't wanna think about anticipating it because I might anticipate myself into a bottle,
Well,
you know?
see, that, I agree with that point, but that may have been what you heard, but that's not what I said. Okay? Why do you stop at a stop sign?
'Cause it's the law.
It's the law, and to be able to drive safely, right? But do you think about stopping at stop signs all the time?
Yes.
Excuse
No.
me? No.
She said yes.
Yeah.
Well, you might, particularly if you ran one and got hit. I don't know if that's happened to you or not, Tina, but
You
But-
bring your hand out too.
do I?
You bring your hand out too.
Yeah.
On your bike.
But
You get
but the
stopped.
fact of it is, but my point here is, you don't stay up at nights thinking about stop signs. You know, you made a decision.
Always be on guard
Yeah, you need,
against,
you know,
what goes on in your mind. I like to put the armor of God on every day.
why?
And.
Why? Wait, why?
Because I need to protect myself.
There you go,
against
there you go.
what's in front of me. Not what's behind me, but what's in front of me. And at night, I keep the helmet on. Because the devil will attack you in your dreams. He
Yeah.
will plant thoughts in your mind that will lead you back to your addiction. You need to keep the helmet on at night to protect your mind.
I agree with keeping the helmet on, but he's not probably planting them at night, because you already probably had them planted during the day,
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying.
or the day before that.
I think I had a misunderstanding of the word anticipation, which is why I heard what I heard.
Okay. So, but I understand what you said, and it's valid, but I hope you understood what I said.
I'm getting there yet.
Okay, all right. But see, it's like the guy that I had come to my office many years ago, and he says, I'm done, I'm clean, Jesus forgave me, and he's helped me stop, and I'm never going to have that problem again, I'm never going to use drugs again. And I said, you're not going to like what I'm going to say. I said, you know, the way when they teach people how to box, the first thing they teach them is how to get up off the mat. They're not planning on falling down. They're not planning on getting knocked down. They're planning on knocking somebody else down. So why should I think about what I'm supposed to do when I get hit and I get knocked down? Because the thing of it is, if you get knocked down, if you have a relapse, if something happens, you got to have a plan to get up. You got to have a plan to get up, and you got to have a plan what not to do. Because if you're thinking about how I got knocked down, why I got knocked down, where am I at, what am I supposed to do now? If you already know, you turn the other way, you go the other way, you just get up off the mat. I saw a guy box one time on TV, actually it was a clip, that he got knocked down, and he hit the floor, and then he got right back up. But then he fell over again, because he was totally out at that time. Does that make sense? But he had it so ingrained what he was gonna do. He didn't figure out why he got knocked down. And I told this guy, I said, you need to have a plan, just in case. He said, that's never gonna happen. He got mad and got up and left. Oh, okay. A couple years later, he came back and apologized. He said, I wish I'd listened. And you can fill in the rest of the story. And so we need to have a plan, but we don't. And if we have that plan, then you can store it back in your memory, and then you can call on it. But if you don't have a plan, and if you have to try to create one in the moment, you can't think, you can't function. You know, so then you run off the old stuff instead of the new stuff. So I don't know where we're at here, Tommy.
I finished I read all of it, I think.
Okay, so we should correct it promptly then, right?
Correct it promptly.
All right.
Yep. So it doesn't run away with itself.
There you go.
All right, so let's go into the questions.
All right, come on down with it.
All right, thank you, Tommy, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Tommy.
You're welcome.
Excuse me. Okay.
Question 1. Have I been quick to recognize but not take actions in a particular area of my life or defect of character?
Let's stop right there. Let's talk about that.
I would have to say yes. I have been problem arise and I will walk away from it, you know. Okay, it's not a big deal right now. But I find out them ones that I say is not a big deal and I walk away, I let them grow and then they become the big deal. And then I am really struggling to take care of it.
Good, so I've got down here, why? Why do we do that?
I mess with right now what you can put off till tomorrow.
And so, and interpret that for me.
If it's not a big issue to you right now, then you can go on and take care of the problems that you were intending to take care of and let that one slide. And then pretty soon you forget about it and it's a big problem on down the line, and then you're having to scramble to try to fix what you can of that, and all the others are getting bigger. When all you had to do was say yes or no at the beginning.
Yes, there you go, good. So it's kind of like those little saplings that grow, and we say, well, we'll just get it next time or next year or whenever, and they get bigger, and the year turns into 2 years or 3 years or 10 years or 15 years, and then it's grown up through your foundation, and
You're taking down a 30-foot oak tree.
yeah.
Yep.
Or it tore up your footing, or
I
So-
think it's better now with the little fox in the hen house.
yeah. So the question is, the reason why we don't do it, why?
It's easier to put it off.
Okay.
That's my
What's
opinion.
another word for that?
Procrastination.
Procrastination,
Laziness.
laziness,
Fear.
fear, that's very good. All those are good. Corey, did you have a word?
Denial, I guess.
Denial, that's a good one. Okay. All right. So, let's hear what the rest of the question.
If so, can I take action without self-criticism by going back through steps 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on this particular area of defect?
So what they're saying here is, if you have an issue in this area that you see this is a problem, that I procrastinate, somebody said that, or I have fear, or I deny, or I'm lazy. I think there was another one in there that somebody said.
I refuse.
Excuse me?
I refuse.
Refuse? Refuse?
Yes.
Refuse? Refuse to deal with a problem?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Cause that'll make it go away, right?
Yep.
Okay, so, the way to find out, because if you recognize a problem, or if you know there's something there and you need to find a problem, they're saying maybe you could go back and look at these previous steps, all right? So you think about, you recognize a problem, but you didn't take action, all right? And so, won't you go ahead and read step 5?
Wood.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you, Tommy. We admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrongs.
So how does that apply to what we're talking about here, this question?
We're bringing it up, we're putting it out there, we're making it known.
So is it important to you to find out what's going on? Why am I recognizing problem, but I'm not taking action? Are you interested? Is it important to you?
Well, not if I'm not dealing with it, it's not important.
Well, that's the reason why we're going back to step 5 and recognize you got a problem.
Never mind, I'm catching up.
If you recognize you got a problem, but I'm not taking action, why am I not taking action? Well, step 5 says, well, is it important to you? If it's not important to you, you're not going to do anything that's not important to you. Bottom line, right? Okay, number 6.
We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character.
Okay, so are you? I don't know what's going on here. I made a mistake. Why am I not taking action? Am I really ready? Am I ready for God to do that? Am I just playing games with myself? What's going on here? And see, you're having an internal debate with yourself. What do you think? Comments? You think that's a good thing?
Yes. Having an internal debate?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I was just thinking about the lack of response. So, go ahead. Next one. Step 7.
We humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings.
Okay. I wonder. I don't take action. I recognize the problem, but I don't take action. Why? Could it be because I really don't want God to remove my shortcomings? Are you really serious?
Maybe I'm not ready to recognize that I'm not the victim, that I might be the one who is causing the problem. It's more comfortable being the victim in a situation than being whatever the opposite of that is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not always abuser, but it's self-sabotager or both. Yeah.
That's good thought that you processing there. And so, step 7's asking, have we humbled ourselves and asked God to remove our shortcomings? Are you really serious? Or do you want to hang on to your stuff? You recognize the problem, but you what was it saying? I deny that it's really a problem. I'm going to pretend that it's okay. Are you serious? That's what I wrote in there. My notes is, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious yet?
No,
What?
not if you're still in denial.
Well, you know, everything's a process. It's all in degrees. You know, that's the reason why we're going through this slowly, because I asked Willie to read these steps. It's asked the question about it, and I wanted the process, go through the process, hopefully give you some tools of processing, and hopefully it's beneficial. Let's go to 8.
We made a list of all the persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all.
Okay. If I recognize a problem here, but I don't want to take action, could it be in step 8 that I'm not really working on it? Are you working on it? Are you really working on your recovery? Are you, when the awareness comes up, this is a problem, do you block it out? Do you run over it? Do you numb it out with something? Do you get angry and go into a rage, which is another form of numbing, possibly? So the question is, are you working on your stuff? Okay. Did you make a list? Are you processing it? Or are you just, I don't know, this popped in my head. Are you just treading water? I don't want to die, but I don't know if I really want to get well. Would anybody seriously be that way? Yes.
Yes.
You know, used to have a young lady several years ago that would come to the meeting, and the reason why she started coming is because she just wanted to stay alive, which is a good thing, right? But she had a list of things that she wasn't going to do and that she didn't like. Okay, but she wanted to stay alive. So that's not all bad, right? You got to stay alive to grow, to change. And she stayed alive. She stayed alive. And the next thing you know, there started being a shift. She started working on some stuff. She started talking. And, you know, nowadays, she has a really good, strong, healthy life. But it took some time. But she had to find a way to stay alive first, which maybe was treading water, which is good. You got to tread water to stay alive. But then after she tread some water and was willing and had a little bit of hope, a possibility, then she was able to do some of these other things. So here we are. Are you working on your stuff? That's what this means. If you're seeing a problem, you're not dealing with it, and then you might be not working on your stuff. I was going to say you might be a redneck, but
I
right.
resemble that.
yeah, all right. And we may have a redneck in here, or 2 or 3 or 4. All right, number 9.
We made,
Step 9.
okay, step 9, we made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others.
Okay, so if I've recognized the problem and I'm not dealing with it, it's messing up my life. I got defects in my character. I keep going to jail. I keep getting tickets. I keep getting evicted. I keep going from job to job to job. For some reason, nobody wants to hire me. Well, they hire you, but then they got to fire you because you can't get along with anybody. Hello?
Yep.
But it's all their fault. I can tell. Amen or oh me, right? And so are you taking proper action? Right? Are you dealing with making these amends and made a list? And see, the amends are more about you than it is about the others. Because see, it's about changing you. That's what recovery is. It's changing you. When you change, things happen. When you change, it affects everything around you. You affect everything around you when you didn't change. When you're angry, drunk, high, mean, violent, you affected everything around you that way. Right?
Yep.
Right? So when we have recovery and we deal with our stuff, and we are in the process. So the question is, I'm looking for the question. But you got the question there, Willie? If
Can I go?
have I been quick to recognize,
But not take action.
but not take action? All right, I wonder why we'd do that. I think it's hiding. What do you think?
And then wouldn't you end up being the one on your list of people that you need to make amends with? Because this is, at this point, it is self-sabotaging behavior and you're hurting yourself more than anybody.
I think that's an excellent point.
Because the second part was like, can you take action without self-criticism?
Yeah, right. And when we decide to go ahead and deal with our stuff, it's not about beating ourselves up. It's about making changes, growing, letting go, dealing with me on my list, because that's important. And in taking that action, and it may be little things in the beginning, but your dad was talking last week. He was talking about love thy neighbor as yourself, and we talked about that, and about that we have to really come to the place that we're really not at war with ourselves to be able to have healthy relationships with others. He didn't say it just like that, but that's, and if we are constantly tearing ourselves up and tearing ourselves down, and not forgiving ourselves, then we're poisoning our own garden.
We do end up treating other people the way that we treat ourselves. It might not be loving. We might end up hating them as much as we hate ourselves. But,
Well, I don't know if we hate people more than we hate ourselves.
I would agree with that.
It could be about, but the fact of it is, to get better, anger and fear has torments. And if we can walk in love, that brings healing. And I know it's a process. Go ahead and hit the last one, Willie. Last question.
In what area or defect do I need to take action today, this week, this month? Well, any of them that'll keep me from moving forward. Whatever it takes to, whatever keeps me from looking in that mirror. 'Cause that's what I need to work on more than anything.
All right. Thank you, Willie.
Thank you.
Any comments from anyone on what we've covered thus far?
I'd just like to say I agree with her. I don't know the name, but I really agree that you cannot give something you don't have. And if you don't love yourself, you can't really show others love. And if I do hate myself, it's really, really gonna be hard for me to appreciate anybody else for what they do every day.
And that's the truth. And if we want to make it worse, if we want to make that statement even worse, that's coming from, hate is coming from an evil place. And we think evil and hating on ourselves is going to make us better. And how's that worked out for you?
You
You
said
just
something
become
about
more evil.
obey as being a bad word. I think humble is just as bad. When you said in that 7th step, we humble ourselves to ask for help. I think that humble is just as hard for most people to accept as to obey, especially where I've been the last few years.
Well, I don't know that I disagree. But that's not the word that jumped out at me.
It comes out to me.
Well, maybe I'll reflect on that.
Maybe I-
So if we were to change that word, and I'm assuming you have, what did you modify it? How did you modify it?
Well, I would think that, humbling is a great word. I'm not saying I'm scared of it today, but when I first got clean,
Yeah, but give me the modification. What would you modify that word to? Stop beating around the bush and,
maybe, acceptance. I mean, because when I humble myself, that means I gotta accept I have a problem. And
you know, I know people that is so afraid of acceptance, and I'm being absolutely serious. They are so afraid of acceptance. And they're afraid of being open. They're afraid of being vulnerable, you know, and because I was running a list of words, okay? I don't know that I'm open to finding a word that would, I guess I'm gonna have to get at the source, go to work. What do you think about that, Corey? And figure that out.
Humility looks, we're right along there in the first step you have to take to get it, to start recovering.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be humble, because you have to admit you have a problem. In order to admit you have a problem, you need to be in a position where you could even admit you have problems at all, especially a big one.
And maybe that's the reason why they use admit instead of humble, that very first word. So that may be the modifier right there.
You said openly, I think you can, openly ask God to get rid of our character defects.
Will said you were smart.
I like humble. I think humility is where it all starts. It's where it all started for me. I had to be, God humbled me in ways that I didn't really like at first. I'm glad that He did, or I'm glad I was humbled in the ways I was, but, I would have never got clean if it wouldn't have been for, I would have never been happy being clean if it wasn't for being humble and realizing that I was doing wrong.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let me ask you a question. This is a research question here,
Sure.
if you don't mind. And you don't have to answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Excuse me?
I said, yes, Doug.
And that is, you're saying that you like the word now, humble, but did you like it in the beginning?
Well, I mean, I knew the passage that God humbles the proud and gives glory to the humble, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought it was, I watched a thing one time about fake humility where people, hey, you play the piano? Yeah, well, I'm not very good. And to be fake humble, and, was something I probably was, where I was okay with being humble, but it wasn't really in areas that I was humble. And I could say it, but I probably wasn't a humble person. I was probably very vain. When social media came out, I was a young teenager, so I put everything out there for everybody to see all the time, and it was very hard to learn how to be humble after that. But when everything that went away, like when I quit selling drugs, and quit doing drugs, and the people weren't around anymore, and I had to make a decision. Well, do I want all these women back and all this power back, and go back to doing and selling drugs, or do I want to live and be, just me and God, or just me and my grandma? And so it was a sacrifice I had to make to kind of let some stuff go. I was going to say earlier that sometimes it's hard to get rid of defects and we have those reservations because it's part of who we are. There's some people that can go and drink and then carry on with their life, but for me it was everything about me was drugs. It was my whole entire life. And so for God to remove that from me, you're talking about part of who I am and my identity and what I've lived for and done for a good portion of my life, and to remove that, and I'm not quite sure what's going to replace it, is kind of scary.
It would be.
So I know, this life that I have lived, and to have God remove that and be different and is, I think scary for some people.
I think you're correct, and that's more in the realm of surrendering. And that's tough, and oftentimes, particularly for us guys, we think surrender means compromise or being passive. What does that mean?
White flags.
Oh, yeah, surrender. And that's, in fact, what we're talking about, what we're actually talking about, is actually more courageous and requires courage and strength to walk in that humbleness, or willing to surrender and walk in that, instead of trying to tap into this. You used the word power, but I think it was more of different kinds of forces that you were using. They're elusive. They will grab you, and that's, you stop and think about it. Jesus, when the devil came to Jesus, he made all those offers, and that was all those different things to try to basically sweep him off his feet. And have we not all had some of those things offered to us, one way or another, or multiple times? Oh, don't worry, this is easy. All right. By the way, we're going to close. We're over time, but my final note here: we're going to Sunday night. We're going to be having an event. If it's not a downpour, we're going to have right out here in the parking lot. That's the reason why it's marked off trunk or treat, and it's going to have hot dogs and chips, and that's what some of this food back here was for our event Saturday night, and that starts at 6 p.m. If it's raining, we'll be over in the fellowship hall.
Do you have more flyers?
Yeah, got some back here on the table, just like this.
Oh.
And I was going to talk about a couple different areas, but we're out of time, so you guys did good. Thank you, Tommy.
Thanks.
Thank you, Will, for your input, and Corey and Vanessa, thanks for your input. Willie, Tommy, John. So may the Lord bless you, keep you, may his face shine upon you and give you his peace. And again, make healthy choices. Right? Till next time.